K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to...
Hi, Big B. It's just you and me.
All right, well, I am here. Anyway, I am here. Something's going on with my camera, but I am here. So welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and you're watching another episode of Sportsminute. But tonight, I'm joined by all my co-hosts for the evening. We have none other than Mr. Big B. Big B, how are you doing tonight, my man?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's Wednesday, my Sunday, so my work week starts tomorrow. Got some big plans Saturday with my son, so can't wait for that to happen. Outside of that, ready to talk some sports.
All right, and then, of course, Callan's in the house. Callan, how are you doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing a million times better. Great to be back with you guys. Been, as I said, I think on my last appearance, been dealing with a lot of teeth problems, and thankfully was able to get part of it resolved yesterday. Yes, James, you and me both spent our Tuesday at the dental office yesterday, but still got some very small pain in the jaw right now. But that, and of course, work picking up here over the next couple days. So that's why I've been kind of MIA here from doing my program and being on shows, though, just with work piling up now that we got college basketball starting, with hockey getting into the flow of things now. So definitely best time of the year, busy time of the year. And hey, wouldn't trade it for anything here in year 15 doing this for a living. So let's get the show on the road, though. Glad to be talking some sports finally here with you guys here on this Wednesday night.
Yes, we're welcome to have you back. And of course, Christy, we hope you're having a good night tonight. She says, hey guys, hello, Christy, welcome in. All right, Mr. Crispy Bacon, how are you doing tonight, my man?
Doing good. Yeah, there's a lot of sports going on, and can't wait to talk about it.
All right. And then, of course, Big Game James. James Gonzalez, how are you doing tonight, my man?
I'm good. I'm lucky I could talk right now. Feel like the dentist was just like they were spreading each, gum open and, stabbing me or something like that. More to come, though, I think, in December, so that would be fun.
Yeah, you and me both. This will be fun. We're gonna do a whole show on Novocaine and anesthesia pretty soon.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Ain't that how another colleague does all his shows is under Novocaine and anesthesia?
Probably, for all we know. Who knows?
Yes, I'm pretty sure we do have a guy who does that here, and quite on a regular basis. But anyways, we do have some great topics for you tonight. The first one is, and I know pretty much for a fact that James is very, very excited about this first one.
About what?
It kind of sucks for my Atlanta Braves in a way, because I feel like we just lost a very, very good third base coach. Big with infield drills and helping players become stars, especially on the infield. What he did with Ozzy and Arcia and everybody has just been phenomenal. So, James, your thoughts of Ron Washington becoming the manager for your Angels?
It's what I wanted. It's what I wanted a couple of years ago when Joe Madden was let go and then Nevin was, held on, and then he got signed on for one more year. I thought, man, Washington would have been better. But it's a 2-year deal. It's like a now or never deal, basically, with him being 71 years old, oldest manager in the majors now. Dusty, I think, had that. But he retired, so I'm just happy about it because it's the man who I wanted, but it's the values. It's the trust he has in the players and vice versa. And then gets everybody, it seems like, working on something. I love the videos of him working with the infielders, how to properly, stop a ball, catch a ball, throw, all these things. He's just great. He's a player's manager. The thing is, like, hey, it's a great thing, but I hope the talent is there, that it won't look so bad. Like, hey, even though he's there, the team still isn't good. I'm afraid of that. So that's why I'm kind of subdued with my excitement, because I just know this team here just sucks. And maybe one day with the right tutelage, like Washington, they will, get back to where they need to be. But man, it's going to be interesting. And I'm already happy though about the staff that might come in. So there's Clint Hurdle, there's Torrey Hunter, there's Eric Young Jr., EY Jr. What was it? Chili Davis would be the hitting coach. My mom's favorite Angel back in the day. So, and I'm just happy about that staff. That's like a no nonsense. Everybody does their work. Everybody's on time. Everybody does everything correctly. That seems like a no nonsense staff. Getting back to like the old days where, again, there's no nonsense. Everybody's going to do well, but everybody's going to be hopefully doing well with this. So I'm just hesitant about it, but I'm excited because for once I got something right.
All right, well, I'm definitely glad to hear that and that you're excited about it. The one thing that I do want to bring up, James, is that you had mentioned Ron Washington is definitely a player's coach. And what I mean by that is you hear so many different players around the league that play on different teams that said, hey, when I came to Atlanta to play against them, I would ask Washington for advice.
Mm-hmm.
And he would gladly help me out and be like, here, I will help you with drills. Heck, the ball boy asked him a question and said, hey, how do you do this drill? And Washington's like, grab a bucket and grab your glove and let's go do it. And Washington actually took him on the field and actually worked with the ball boy on the field of all people. So I feel like Washington is one of those coaches that's going to bring a great morale to the Angels. And I really think that the Angels are going to be a good team under Washington. So, Callan, I'm going to jump to you on this one. What's your thoughts on Washington now being the manager for the Angels?
Great hire. Baseball guy, like James said, oldest manager by age in the major leagues. I love the staff that he is right now, perhaps consummating. Chili Davis, hitting coach, Torrey Hunter, who was in the running, along with several other Angel greats for the vacant managerial role. First base coach, I dig it. It's actually Eric Young Sr., James, who's coming over with them from Atlanta to coach third base. And then I believe it's Ryan Goings who's going to be the infield coach. And then Clint Hurdle as the bench coach. The only missing key here is the pitching coach. So are you going to go and, tap into Mark Langston to become the pitching coach? Are you going to, reach out to, another like former Angel hurler, like a Chuck Finley maybe, to become that, potential pitching coach? But certainly I agree though with James, though. Great hire, great hire. But there is that small concern though about, okay, you have a great manager in place, but the roster is a big cliffhanger right now. The impending free agency of Ohtani, Mike Trout's future with his injury health. Can they somehow move Anthony Rendon off this roster? Can they patch up or fix the pitching staff, fix the bullpen, get some, maybe restock the farm system? Who really knows though? But at least though, for all the stuff that happened though with this Angels ball club last season though, they were playing well. They got to the deadline though. They were buyers. But it's probably though that one rare time though, I think, guys, in sports where a team buys at the deadline and it doesn't pan out. Like it was very unfortunate seeing how that organization just kind of tailspun over the past couple months of the season, where they were aggressive though, going out there, getting a Giolito, a Randall Grichuk, bringing back CJ Cron, like how Perry Manassian really, was aggressive. And I applauded him for doing it, even though it didn't pan out, because I think it's like that one rare obscure time where a team is a buyer at the trade deadline and it just doesn't pan out. Best case scenario, the 2010 Padres, got an aging Miguel Tejada and a pretty, at the time, young, promising Ryan Ludwig from the Reds, and that sent that team into a tailspin where they lost 10 straight games and ended up coughing up the division title and presumably the World Series that year to the San Francisco Giants in 2010. But for the Angels, great hire, good starting point to hopefully get the team back on solid footing, though. But like James said, a little concerned, though, about that roster again, the, Ohtani's future, Mike Trout's future, maybe even Anthony Rendon's future. But I love that they hired a guy like Ron Washington, well-respected across the game. And I would even think, though, James, maybe like the modern day Angels version of legendary coach Jimmy Reese, how he seems to find a way to work with these players in so many capacities, whether it's the infielders mainly, but that Jimmy Reese had a great connection with his players as a coach. And now Ron Washington, same sort of ordeal, great baseball man, great person, but also knows how to work his players into game shape. So hopefully this can only trickle down from Ron Washington all the way through the coaching staff that he perhaps brings in, but more importantly to that Angel roster that definitely I think is going to be talked about over this entire hot stove season. But at least though for the Angels, terrific starting point. Probably honestly, other than maybe Buck Showalter, probably the best candidate on the market that they had. And I think it's a fabulous hire by that organization going forward. Really do.
All right, so we heard Callan's take, and it sounds like Callan's really excited about it. It sounds like James is excited about it. Big B, your thoughts on Ron Washington to the Angels?
It sucks. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that's a great hire for that type of team. I think we've all covered that he's well respected in every organization. People call him up for infielding tips, and I don't think he's afraid to give them out to opposing players. Maybe not during the season, but maybe in the off season. But the coaching staff that you guys have already announced or he's working with, it doesn't sound like they have a pitching coach yet, which, if they keep going with people that have pitched for Anaheim, you got Bert Blyleven, who I wish the Twins would get as a pitching coach, but they don't seem to have interest. Jim Abbott. The list goes on. Heck, I know Nolan Ryan's up there in age, but, bring him in as some kind of consultant, might be over the top, but, I think it's good. I think it's going to help those guys out. I think it's going to, especially if he gets a young staff underneath him that still knows the game and he can mentor as the next manager to be. But I'm looking forward to see what the Angels do with the staff, and then Ohtani I think is a big concern. So I think the offseason is going to be focused a lot on Anaheim.
All right, crispy bacon.
Yeah.
This goes to you.
No, it's definitely interesting. I know we talked about it a few times and during the season, and I think a little bit here in the off season starting out. But he does know the division. He does know the Rangers. Went to several World Series, a couple World Series with them. You're unsure about Ohtani and a few other pieces, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how the off season goes and if it really work out.
And this is kind of what makes me wonder, though, since Ron Washington is now the manager of the Angels, it makes me wonder if the Angels are willing to pay Ohtani, does now Ohtani look at this differently and be like, hey, we actually have a decent manager who's now coming in? And so, I don't know. It just kind of what went through my mind, and I thought, does it change it? Now, I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying it could be one of those possibilities that he might be a huge Ron Washington fan, be like, is Ron Washington that guy that can turn this around if I stay? Who knows? I'm very intrigued on to see how that's going to pan out. But it's like everybody was talking. Unfortunately, everybody thinks he's going to be a Dodger. And yeah, anyway, going away from that, let's jump into a little bit of college football. And the report was today that college football is concerned that there will not be enough 6-win teams to play in all the bowl games, because everybody knows to be bowl eligible, you have to win 6 games. Well, now this is a concern this season for college football, saying, hey, we may not have enough 6-win teams to play in all these bowl games. Well, in turn, there's 81 different bowl games.
Oh my God.
So let me ask you, is 81 bowl games too much? Should college football look at this and be like, hey, we have not enough 6-win teams to fill all these bowl games. Is it too many? And I started with James last time, so Callan, I'll start out with you. Do you think NCAA really needs to look at this and think 81 is too many?
81 is a pretty big number, considering where we are right now with all of the machinations, all of the, gears being grinded right now with what may or may not happen with college athletics next year because of all the realignment and the chess pieces being moved on the board and all the factors considered, guys. But I might be the one idiot on the island who still thinks that 81, though it's a lot, is fine with me because I think a lot of people out there forget, even though it's a very slow knockout, drag out process of meaningless games with schools you never heard of, you have to think about the markets that these games are being played in, especially, case in point, San Diego, California, one fringe FBS program in San Diego State, a brand new, shiny 35,000 seat stadium that is not being used for the Holiday Bowl here right now because of the agreement with Petco Park right now. You have to look, though, at places like San Diego, Mobile, Alabama, Fort Worth, Texas, a lot of, maybe obscure places, but it drives economic impact during what would be dubbed like the slow season in San Diego in December. Yeah, it doesn't snow out here. For me, it gets cold out here when it does rain and the wind, and James would know well living down here too in the county. But it does help bring people probably for the first time ever in their lives out to the West Coast. I recall best when the UCLA NC State game got axed about 5 hours before kickoff. But there is a huge week-long thing where both schools come in. They have like lunch on the USS Midway, one of the famed, aircraft carriers on the Bayfront. One school goes to the zoo, one school goes to SeaWorld. They all spend their money in San Diego during that week. Now, and that's the main thing, though. And as someone who had gone to the Holiday Bowl for about a decade straight, because my dad worked for the city and always got tickets, what? I got to see Aaron Rodgers play at Cal, Sonny Cumbie play at Texas Tech, got to see Texas come in and Oklahoma, a lot of, big name universities that would never play San Diego State because, why would we want to go play a Mountain West school for $2 million, back, 10, 15, 20 years ago? That even though I know the process is long, I know it's long. I know it's like an all day thing of like, I don't care about this game. I've never heard of UTSA or heard of, Marshall or, heard of, some very small schools out there that play D1 FBS football. But at the same time, it's like, it's not about who's playing. It's about, okay, where's the game being played? Somewhere in Florida, the Bahamas, Boca Raton, San Diego, Tucson, Arizona. A lot of places that have the game that don't get a lot of tourism, in December, which is why I look at Vegas as being, a great spot because they actually put something in Vegas, the Golden Knights, in a perfect time frame when Vegas tourism is not where it usually is at the apex or the climax in the middle of the summer. In Vegas, it's a lot cooler. It's still a desert, but it's not as hot. It's not 1:15 at 4 o'clock in the morning or at 12 in the afternoon. So, I get that there may not be enough 6-win teams to fill the void. Okay, put a 5 and 7 win team in there. Who really cares? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't going to watch, yes. But also think about the tourism money that goes into a market like San Diego, but also the schools that come get money too. And in this day and age, guys, that we've seen all these moves with the Pac-12 on life support, and all these schools going to the Big Ten or the Pac or the Big Ten, the Big 12, the ACC, all these other mid-major conferences that no one out there has heard of, like the West Coast Conference and the Mountain West Conference. They're all getting money out of this when it comes to, their schools making it to the Hawaii Bowl or the Vegas Bowl or the LA Bowl or, some obscure bowl game up in Detroit, Michigan, that it is, it does help in some very small way. Now, could you maybe reduce the number of games? Maybe, but then you'd be talking about like, okay, what games have been going on for a long time that we need to get rid of? Like, do you axe the Holiday Bowl in San Diego because, oh, there's no NFL team in the market, or that they left, or, oh, they're playing it at a baseball stadium, yet they put bowl games at Fenway Park and at Yankee Stadium, for heaven's sake. So in a nutshell, keep it the way it is, because I know that people don't watch all 81 games, but it's about giving these kids a chance to maybe explore the world, explore the country, go to a new market, play a school they probably have never played before. And above all else, though, it brings money to people's hometowns like San Diego in the middle of the winter time. Simple as that.
Yeah. So I think this is where the confusion was too. That 81 number is a little bit exaggerated. Okay.
Yeah,
I
there's
will say
about
that.
46
Yeah.
bowls.
Because there should actually be 46. So I was sitting here and I was
Or
counting.
40,
Oh,
no,
okay.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I'm sorry, 43 bowls.
Yeah, and
I'm
this
looking
person
at
who
it's
came out and
43.
said 81
That's
originally,
still
I'm like,
too many.
yeah, but still, that 81 originally, when they came out and said 81, I was like, that doesn't sound right. So,
Yeah,
as
when you
we're
said it,
sitting
I'm
there
like,
talking, yeah, so as we're sitting there talking, I'm like, 81? I was like, that sounds like it's too many. So I went back and I started looking. I'm like, no, it's actually 43. But
Well,
Yeah.
and regardless, and I think one more point, regardless of the number of the bowl games, guys, James, I know will say this. College football is becoming the AAA pipeline for the NFL, where they want to make college football a year-round thing, much
oh yeah,
like the NFL, which I think goes with the whole thing of the 12-team expansion that's going to be voted on, I believe, on Thursday. They're having the big meeting with the 10 FBS commissioners and Notre Dame's AD in Dallas on Thursday. So regardless of the number of bowl games, though, this is basically college football becoming the NFL 2.0 on an amateur scale more than anything else, though. Even then, I would still keep all 43 bowl games because, as James said, it's the money. But again, revenue going to markets like San Diego, Mobile, Tucson, San Antonio, Boca Raton, Florida, the Bahamas, you name it, suck it up. Simple as that. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. But at the end of the day, it's one more game for these kids to play before they probably don't play football ever again, or they do, in fact, go to the NFL. But also, it's tourism money. It's the slow season for a lot of these markets like San Diego and LA. I get it. But at the same time, let the kids play, regardless of what you think.
all right. James, do you think that 43 bowl games is too many?
Oh man, you know what I'm worried about when all the conference realignments happen? Next season. I'm thinking to myself, you're only gonna have what, like a big three? They're gonna say
Basically.
big. They're gonna say five,
Yeah.
but really it's a big three. Why not make it 7 wins for you to get in a bowl? Make it a higher level, criteria. I can see that.
Tier system.
And then the teams beyond that, they could do like college basketball, have like an NIT kind of thing, but with just one bowl game. Not like a tournament, just one bowl game. It would be considered like the NIT of college bowl games. That's all I could think you can do. But since like it's only going to be a big three, you should have lesser meaningful bowl games. Since it's only going to be like those big three conferences. So that's all I can think what you can do. But I like what Colin mentioned because, I remember I think Iowa came to play USC one time.
The last ever Holiday Bowl at Qualcomm, yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking with some people from Iowa, and they're like, man, even though it's the winter here, it's worse where I live. I love it out here.
Thank you.
Even though it's like 55 degrees, windy, chance of rain that Friday night, it was perfect for them because they left, Des Moines or
and
wherever,
snow.
yeah. So the tourism, the vacation part of it, those people from the Midwest, like Alan mentioned, they would love to come out this way. And be nice too to have more bowls, no matter what they are, centered out here, more in the West than somewhere else. I think that'd be awesome. They do it in Florida and Arizona, I know, but there's a a lot of these bowls, they sound ridiculous. Like, I don't know if the Cheez-It Bowl's still going on, but I remember that was one thing, and the Foster Farms Bowl.
All up
it was
in
like
Santa Clara.
Yeah, it was just things that I would like eat or not tell people that I eat, but I'd have those bowls for the 6 wins and under club.
The Idaho Potato Bowl.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There's one called the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah.
That's literally just a sponsorship change from Kellogg's, I think, is what happened.
Which that definitely could be. And I believe that they have a Hawaii Bowl, which
Yes,
Hawaii,
they do.
Yeah, which Hawaii plays in, and I'm like, what's the point?
Well, they only will play in it if they're eligible, and with how their program is right now, sadly, they're not going to be in that game for quite a while, sadly.
No, No, they definitely won't be. But
Still,
still,
going to Honolulu in December. Sign me up.
oh yeah, right, yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
yeah.
All right, Big B, your thoughts for 43 bowl games? Is it too much?
Well, yeah, it's too much. I mean, back in the 80s, early 90s, I remember there used to be, I think, 4 major bowls and then maybe another 10 bowl games. And that was like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day mostly. Um, I think bowl games start the week before Christmas, I think, with these minor bowls and then go, I think, the second week in January, depending on
Second
where
Monday in
that
January.
lies. But yeah, they got too
Yeah,
many bowls.
December.
Yeah, so I mean, they
It
got too
starts
many
like
bowl
December
games.
16th to January 8th.
I mean, pretty much, you know, yeah. So I mean, 43 bowl games. So that means you got 86 teams
Yeah,
vying for a championship of some sort. So I mean, I get Callan's point earlier. Some of these teams need that. Be like, hey, look, we won the first, the Chuck Wagon Bowl last year. Come play with us. You have a chance to
You
play in
won
a
the
bowl
Duke
game.
Mayo Bowl. Come play for us.
So I get Callan's. Yeah, I mean, but there's too many. I mean, I wish they would come up with some kind of better system, raise the, games, wins. I think it's 6 right now, so people are already talking about, oh, this team's already bowl eligible. This team's already bowl eligible. It's just like, yeah, let's raise it up to maybe 7, 8, 9 to actually get some competition in there.
More fair than
Because,
going beyond 7.
yeah, possibly, but it's just, because, Big Ten typically will probably send, 2 to the playoffs this year, possibly 4 more go to other bowl games.
yeah.
Which the fourth team in that mix might be under 500 because. So yeah, I just think it's. I mean, granted, yes, it's a money grab. We're not stupid, but I mean, to Cal's point, it makes sense. But I just think this just too many bowl games.
Just goes to my point of this becoming like a NFL 2.0 product of trying to make college football in the NFL a year-round product, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crispy, do you agree that 43 is too many?
It's too many. I think you should have like the top. If you win your conference, you automatically get into a bowl game, I think. And then maybe your second place team has a chance, and since you're expanding it to 12 teams, like they're doing now, each game will be like a bowl game, and then maybe your second or third place team can have like a conference specific bowl, and then that's it.
Hmm.
So maybe 12. I think 12 maybe.
So
I don't know.
I think that philosophy is dumb. I think I think the playoff system should be one bowl series instead of made up of 4 or 5 different bowl games because they're expanding.
Well,
and it sadly is back to my point I've been saying, and people have called me stupid or an idiot, and that I smoke weed and stuff, and I know what I'm talking about. But there's never going to be a squeaky clean, wash the hands type of playoff for college football that all 5 of us on this panel will agree upon, because we all have our opinions, though. But at the same time, there's no right way, because you're going to have one program out there like a Central Florida or a Cincinnati or a TCU, great feel-good story, put them in. When they do get put in, they're going to get crushed by a bigger, better, university with more assets and enrollment and money at their disposal. So, I think it just goes back to my point that none of this stuff is going to work, though, and people can call me stupid if they want to, but I don't see a clear path for college athletics, or for that matter, college football, to get on the same level as what men's and women's college basketball is with their playoff, because there's not going to be one system out there that's the magic wand answer that you can just dangle over someone's head with pixie dust and say, here's our perfect system. This isn't Chat GPT and AI. So, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it could be 4, it could be 8, it could be the BCS all over again. But it just goes back to my argument that there's not going to be like a wash the hands, like case closed playoff format that all five of us on this network would agree upon for what the college football playoff should be.
Which I do.
Well, the ranking system needs to go.
Yeah, which I do agree that there is going to be no straight cut forward path that's going to be like, hey, this is the easy answer. I completely get that. I think what's going to make it more exciting by expanding in the playoff teams is when you actually get that one true upset, because you see the same thing in March Madness. When you get those upsets, you're like, oh, that was cool. People every year are rooting for those upsets. They're like, oh, I want to see those upsets. In college football, you might still be starting to see that same thing to where people are like, yes, I can't wait to see if a 12 is playing a 1. I want to see that 12 beat that 1 because that's going to be a great upset, and that'll be a great story. So
definitely.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I guess you can kind of look at it through that angle, but I do agree there is no clear-cut answer to it. All right.
They need to adapt the playoff system that the movie Basketball uses. I think that would work.
Basketball, right?
That'd be great.
All right. So going into our next topic now. We know about the Michigan sign stealing scandal that is going on. We know that JJ McCarthy, the quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines, has had an outstanding year, in the Heisman race. But you have people out there now that are saying that they will not vote for JJ McCarthy based upon Michigan's sign stealing scandal. So my question is this right? And so James, do you think that this is fair by saying, hey, I'm not going to vote for this guy because of the sign stealing scandal?
This is tough to manage because I think a lot of the sign stealing comes on the part of the defense. It has really nothing to do with the offense. So, I think this is just kind of like baseball when you think about it. The voters will not vote for the steroid guys, so this feels like the same thing, the same kind of denial. It's to a point where, man, until proven guilty, I don't think you can stop your judgment about the team. You could do all your sanctions and all that, once real evidence and real justice comes out, and then maybe you could take the Heisman away if he gets it. But like the Reggie Bush situation. But yeah, I don't know if it's right or if it's wrong. It's it's people's votes. It's not. If I had a vote, I'd give it to Barry Bonds still got all those MVPs when I think about it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of comparing it to that. So I think the voters can do whatever they want, basically, and we'll just see what happens later down the line. I mean, Barry Bonds still has all those MVPs. He still has them wherever he has them. They were not taken away. So it's just up to the voters. I don't think it's wrong what they're doing if they take that vote away from the quarterback just because maybe it's a bad look. Maybe that's why they're doing it. But to each their own, I would say.
Yeah, and I agree with Christy where she says, you know what, you want to blame the coach and not the player, because you don't even know if the offensive players knew about this. And
No.
So in the end, JJ McCarthy might be like, why am I getting penalized for something that I had nothing to do with? I didn't even know about it. And so that to me is where I feel like it's not truly right, because why would you penalize the players? I don't think it's right to really do that. So Big B, do you agree that with what they're saying, that they're not going to vote for JJ McCarthy just based on this sign stealing?
Man, this sign stealing thing has gotten way out of control. I think every day I wake up to a new news story, new allegations, new this that. Yeah, I think it's wrong. I mean, like James said, it's mainly on the defensive side because they're the ones that got to block the offense. So they're trying to figure out what the offense is doing until it benefits the defense. I mean, if that's the case, then you might as well ban Michigan from making the playoffs then, because if they end up winning it, now you're going to take it away because it's going to be tarnished because of the sign stealing and stuff like that. So, again, like Chrissy said, blame the coach, not the player. I said that a few years ago when Penn State had all those allegations. Why penalize the players when the coaches were doing whatever? I got ripped to shreds on that because they said the players should have known about it. But yeah, the only way that they're going to get away from anybody stealing signs or whatever is they're going to start having to put mics or some kind of walkie-talkies inside the quarterback's helmets, and somebody on the defensive side. They're going to start having to communicate through walkie-talkies or whatever that way. So, yeah, I think it'd be stupid to take away votes.
All right, well, I'm definitely glad that you agree with me on that. And James, I'm not saying that your opinion is wrong.
Why do we have to disagree on it every time? It's just everybody's opinion.
Exactly.
It's just wrong.
Yep. All right, so Callan, what is your thoughts?
I'm with Brandon, and I'm with James and Brandon, and I mainly say that because like we wake up every day to like something new popping up, like it's a pimple on prom night, basically. Like they like this has happened with the coach that was allegedly on the Central Michigan sideline. This has come out, that's come out, but to strip the vote of a Heisman Award off of a player because something out of his control is dangling over his team's head right now, to me reminds me of that couple or that family going through a divorce. You're going to punish the kids who have no say in what you and your spouse are doing because you couldn't figure things out on your own, or they couldn't figure out their situation, but they're going to be the ones who wear the blunt of it because you want to pass the buck to somebody else, basically. So in that retrospect, I think it's unfair if J.J. McCarthy loses votes because something beyond my control as a student athlete that doesn't affect my side of the football is dangling over my team's head when it's not even my issue. Like, I'm the quarterback. I'm not playing, middle linebacker or playing defensive end for Coach Harbaugh's defense. Like I said, though, guys, I think a couple of weeks ago when I was on here, though I had a lot of technical faults trying to skip my point out, though, Jim Harbaugh at this rate has 2 strikes on him now this season. If something else comes out of this, he had strike 1 already earlier in the year for the cheeseburger, allegation and the recruiting trip thing. Now, this is right now in my mind, strike 2. If something does come out where it becomes strike 3, you're out. I wouldn't say, I would think that it would be the ultimatum of either it comes down to firing Jim Harbaugh for 3 strikes in 1 season, or maybe the committee decides to ban Michigan, because I don't think that the committee wants to have a 2017 Astros situation pop up in the finally before they roll out this big giant red carpet. Like, hey, we're going to be welcoming 8 new teams to the college football playoff. We have a brand new media rights deal for the next 50 years on ESPN, if they're even still in business, if Disney sells them off. We're going to be doing this and that. Do you really want to stain the reputation of your baby, your multi-billion-dollar industry that is the college football playoff by potentially having a program who is right now under severe scrutiny by the Big Ten Conference, who's had all 13 members in a way kind of come out and say, this happened, this happened, this happened, even though they've tried to deflect by saying, well, hey, we told Rutgers, we told Ohio State, we told Penn State, we told all these other programs. So I think it boils down to either Jim Harbaugh gets canned as the head coach, or the College Football Playoff Committee doesn't want to do what baseball should have done, maybe, or they don't want to have a repeat of the Astros winning the 2017 World Series, where if the Wolverines win this year's CFP, you're going to be having a lot of upset institutions who are in that playoff who are going to cry wolf about this whole thing becoming a snafu. And again, is that really what you want your lasting legacy to be if you're the CFP committee, of your first overhaul of your playoff system with this 4-team tournament that didn't really work to everyone's liking? But now that you're going to try to appease people by going the 12-team route, is this how you would want to see your CFP or your multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar baby in the CFP go, like kind of like in a way, grow out of the crawling stage and begin to walk and talk and run and whatnot by having a team that's tainted, potentially win the championship? But tying this all back to JJ McCarthy, I mean, this is a sadly for him a rock in a hard place, because you're playing, you're doing your best to play for yourself, maybe your future in the NFL or somewhere else, yet you have issues out of your control. There's the old saying of, control what you can control and don't worry about what you can't control. This is something out of his control affecting the opposite side of the football. Yet, like Ace and Brandon and James said, there's going to be that one, that one Snoopy voter out there, or one, old school get off my lawn beat writer who says, oh no, a sign stealing scandal. I don't care if it's the quarterback or if it's on the defense. It's tainted. Can't vote for him. I'm going to vote for Caleb Williams, though he sucks right now. I'm voting for somebody else, because just the thought of the player being involved in this sort of ordeal is what I think is going to probably hurt this guy's potential Heisman chances, though. And sadly, it's unfair. But then again, guys, life is unfair too, though.
No, I get it. Sometimes people around you that make stupid decisions hurts you in the end. And unfortunately,
guilty by association, sadly.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes that's how life goes. I mean, we know with even the 2017 Astros, we understand that there was some players in there that were like, hey, I wasn't a part of that. I wanted nothing to do with it. But in the end, because they were associated with the Astros, their names were right there with it. And
yeah, I mean, just in perspective, look at Michael Brantley. I think he came over the year after the whole thing happened, or maybe 2 years after, and he was like any other player. He was getting booed, to come hell or high water with the rest of the club. And again, a guy like Michael, guys coming into the organization who weren't even a part of it, getting booed is just beyond unfair. But again, it's not personal bias, but it's more of like, well, hey, you're a part of this organization. You may not have been a part of it, but hey, you're guilty by association playing for the Houston Astros because of 2017, whether you like it or not. Simple as that.
Exactly. So, Crispy, what is your thoughts?
Well, it's going to be interesting how it's going to play out. I think it shouldn't be guilty by association, but a lot of times that's how it is. I don't know. I feel like you guys said, it's a 2-strike. And if he gets another one, he could be out. Although maybe he's already out and we just don't know it yet.
True point.
I think he'll play out the season, and we'll just have to see in the off season after the bowl games happen if he's going to stay or not.
Okay, so transitioning away from this, we're going to hit a little bit on the NFL here, and this is only because this is a big name coach here. Okay, this coach, we know he's been with the New England Patriots for a long time, six Super Bowl rings with the Patriots. Now the rumors are swirling, saying that Bill Belichick could actually get fired mid-season because the Patriots are sitting at 2-7. They have struggled mightily over the last several seasons, especially with Mac Jones as quarterback, and they even brought in Cam Newton for a year. That didn't work well. People are not a true believer in Mac Jones. So do you feel like maybe Bill Belichick is on the hot seat and that he will get fired due to this 2-7 start? So, James, I'll start with you. Do you feel like he's on the hot seat? And will he make it through the season?
Yeah, he's on the hot seat. There's no doubt. He should make it through the season. I think he earned it. I was talking to a Patriot fan yesterday, and I kind of grasped what he was saying about that because you win 6 Super Bowls, you should have the right to at least finish the season off. Go out on your own. Um, but if you ask to continue, if you're Belichick and you ask to continue your contract when you should be letting go, then it's like, hey, you quit right now, or we'll have to fire you and make this look worse on you. So that's my feeling about all this. It's a tough thing because you're not going to win this year. I knew they were going to be in last place. I knew they were not going to be, a playoff team. It was just going to be figuring out how bad are they going to be, and we have that answer, where it's really really bad and it's not going to be a good season and doesn't look well on anybody. But now, guess what? Hey, um, something has to be done, and you can either, if you're the owner, like Robert Kraft would be, and say, hey, do you just ride this out? Don't leak anything out, but maybe Bill has earned the right to finish the season, but knowing that, hey, you don't deserve to be around anymore. So that's what I think is going to happen.
It's just weird that they extended him last year, and they actually extended him for another couple of years, and then all of a sudden it's just like, nope, I think it's time to move on. Then why'd you extend him? I don't.
Well, that shouldn't have leaked out. Somebody leaked that out, and it should have never came out. That was the problem with it. Now they're caught, with that problem that should never happened. Honestly,
Exactly. But since they did, it's like, now what do you do? Because you did extend him. So why would you extend him if you weren't going to let him finish it out? But you're right, James. I do feel like
I'm
he has
right for
earned.
once.
Well, I'm saying because Belichick has kind of earned that
I
right
guess you
to
disagree. Well, fun.
at least finish the season. So he has earned that right to at least finish out the year.
Thank God.
So, Big B, do you feel like Kraft might end up firing him midway through the season?
No, he's gonna stay, and then Black, or what do they call it, Black Monday, Pink Monday, whatever.
Black
After
Monday,
the
yeah.
football season end, mutual parting ways is what it'll be. I mean, I'm just looking at it now. Belichick took
It
over
could
the
be
2000
Germany.
season. He went 5-11. So he went 5-11 that year, and ever since then, up until 2020, he's had a winning record. So in 2020, I think is when Brady left. So 7-10, and then they had a 10-7 2021, and then last year was 8-9, and right now is 2-7. So the guy put up plenty of winning seasons. I think it would be foolish for them to fire him unless heck all breaks out in the locker room and he loses control of the team, which he probably already has. But I will be shocked if he's gone mid-season or any time from now until the end of the year. But he won't be the coach next year. They'll part ways mutually. So,
Well, that was the only reason I was bringing it up, because the rumors were swirling, saying that if they lose 2 more games, he could just be let go right there. If they fall to 2-9, he could be let go. But I don't truly believe it, but it could happen. And then Jason saying off topic, I know, but speaking of winning, Linfield University in Oregon just clinched their 66th consecutive winning season. So congratulations for that. All right, Callan, Bill Belichick, does he make it through the season?
Yeah, he'll make it through the season. I think James is right, though, that when you've had those years of success, you turned around, a mediocre franchise who came in from the AFL, went from being called the Boston Patriots to the New England Patriots, got that stadium built in Foxborough, and what you built alongside the greatest quarterback to play the game in Tom Brady. Father Time is undefeated. I don't care if it's, players, it's coaches too. And I think that I hate to say it, but I feel like, guys, and again, I have very feeble knowledge of Hand-Egg or the National Football League, but I really feel like, though, the game has kind of passed Bill Belichick by over the past 3 years. And I think I remember saying on an old podcast outlet with the, infamous co-host of ours that I remember saying that when the Pats got beat by Buffalo the first game of 2020, that was a visual passing of the torch of the AFC East division being handed down to the Buffalo Bills, and for that matter, even the Miami Dolphins. And that was going to be the time where all those years of the Pats dominating New England or dominating Miami and the Jets and the Bills were going to be put to bed because of Brady not being there. And then I think the game has somewhat, in a way, passed Bill Belichick by. That he deserves, though, regardless of what they finish, whether it's 2-15 or 3-14, whatever the final record may be. He's earned the right to finish out the year, and I think it will be a thing that Big B alluded to. There'll be a mutual parting of ways, or they'll say he resigned on his own terms, but he's going to still be like general manager or head coach emeritus, or he's still going to be a part of the organization. He's just not going to be doing day-to-day operations of being the head coach, though. And sadly, I think Father Time catches up, but I hope, though, that when that time comes for Brady and Belichick to both be up for the Hall of Fame induction, they better go in as a dynamic duo. I mean, without those two, you really can't tell the story of how this franchise really, turned around such a mediocre franchise in probably one of the hardest markets to play sports in because of how the fan base is. Like we always say, guys, that's a fan base demanding perfection, that they go out there and win every game. And if they lose, they blame their daily problems on, well, I'm not coming into work because the Patriots lost, or, oh, I broke up with my girlfriend because the Patriots lost to the LA Chargers by 5 touchdowns, or some stupid thing like that. But again, it is more than anything else. It'll be a thing, though, along the lines of he'll write out the season. He'll talk to Robert Kraft saying, hey, I think it's time that I probably step away. I've been doing this for so long. Great run, but I'd love to still help out the organization in some capacity. And there'll be some big release saying, we'd like to thank Bill Belichick, but as of today, we have chosen to mutually part ways and announce his resignation. And he's now head coach emeritus to, kind of in a way he's like the associate head coach in college basketball terms, basically. But I don't see Belichick getting fired. And if it does happen, though, that will probably be a day like when Brady retired, where were you when this happened? When probably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time retired, but also maybe one of the greatest coaches in NFL history retired as well. But I think it's still a long ways away, though, at this rate, despite the record with the Pats right now.
So Chrissy's saying it was the same with Tom Landry. The game had passed him by when he was let go in 1989. Yeah. But
Jerry stepped in, though.
So, Crispy, do you feel like Belichick will make it through the season?
I do, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kraft did say, you know what, I think it's time to part ways right now. There's even talks that Germany could, if they lose it against the Colts, it could be his final game. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's reports of that. When Brady left for Tampa Bay, everybody had the question, okay, who ran the team really? Was it Brady or was it Belichick? Brady
Clearly
went
it was
off
Brady.
Brady went off to Tampa, won another Super Bowl. And I think without Brady, I don't think Belichick, he struggled. So, but I think he's going to ride out the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's fired either. So,
just don't fire him in Germany, please, for heaven's sakes. Come on now, don't do that.
Right? That would be the worst time to do that.
Well, and I just Googled that after Christy said that, but yeah, but they are saying that if he loses, that could be, his last game in Germany. Yeah. I don't know. Does he get another chance after this?
I would hope so. Don't fire the guy when they lose over a game overseas in Frankfurt, for heaven's sakes. You can't do that to Bill Belichick.
Right.
Come on now.
I'm just wondering how
Thank you, Christy. I agree. I mean, this would be on tacky. And I think, guys, I don't think Robert Kraft is that kind of an owner. Come on now.
It just makes me wonder how people would
What?
actually react if they lost and then woke up the next day and they go, Belichick has been fired. Everybody would be like, really? In Germany? Like it's
I would probably just be getting up to
What
start my
about this?
day
I mean,
when that happens, and then I
let's
hear
just
like
say, let's just say,
he gets fired.
well, here, how about this? Let's just say at halftime, they're down by 21. Let's just say, instead of the second half, we don't see Belichick on the sideline. Next thing we know, we hear reports that he got let go at halftime. He's on a plane back to the States already.
No.
oh my god.
That would be some BS.
That's even worse if that happens.
Oh my god, yeah.
That would be pretty bad.
That would be. But
Yeah,
it makes
And then he shows up in Dallas to coach them on later that day.
it makes me wonder like how many fans or not even Patriots fans, but it makes me wonder how many football fans would actually be upset if Belichick got fired after losing a game in Germany and going to being 2-8 at that point. It makes me wonder how many fans would be like, "Hey, man, that's a load of crap. You can't do that."
I'm
But-
sure honestly, I think the whole entire fan, everyone would be like, I know I'd be irate. Like, you really fired a legendary coach over in Germany.
Right.
But I think if that happens, the owner will go, yeah, after the game, Belichick came over to me and said he's going to step away from the team. But really, Kraft fired him.
He's fired.
Yeah.
He's no, I get it. He's fired. It's we know he's done after the season. We completely get that. But he is a legend. He's a legend of a coach, and to me, it would be almost disrespectful to fire the guy in
Give
Germany.
me a slap
He'll
in
be
the
in the
face to be
broadcast booth.
fired over in Germany.
Belichick with Brady in the broadcast booth. I'm good.
Both of them in the broadcast booth. Well, it is at that point in time. We're right there at that hour cusp here. So we're gonna go ahead and give our final thoughts. And Big B, we'll go ahead and we'll start with you. What is your final thoughts for the evening?
It's always great talking. Chrissy, thanks for joining. Jason, I don't know if there's anybody else, but the views are up, so keep watching, keep sharing this. I enjoy chatting with these guys, especially having Callan back and Big Game James joining us. So just keep checking out C2C all week long. You'll see me again, a brief moment on Morning Tailgate on Sundays. And then you'll see me and Tim do our C2C Rankum show on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, depending on what works out for us.
All right, and then of course, Callan, any final thoughts for you?
Now, final thoughts. I mean, great stuff tonight. Got into some of the, nitty gritty with what's going on. I know we're kind of, mid-November's kind of like, NBA's in full swing, NHL's in full swing. Baseball offseason is still fairly young right now. College football's kind of coming down to the wire. NFL's kind of at their halfway mark at this rate. But no, I mean, it was great seeing that the watch count be up to like near 20 people watching tonight, especially late out here on the West Coast at about 10 o'clock local time. So thank you all for, again, checking us out. Again, I know I've been away for the past couple of weeks. I've been dealing with work and health problems with dental visits and stuff like that. I do promise that Press Row is coming back, though. Just really have not been able to lock down days yet because I've been pulled back into work on Thursdays, here and there with, college athletics and stuff and whatnot. And I know the next couple of months will be pretty busy as more things get loaded up. But no, keep checking us out. I know we have some other ambitious ideas coming up here, but again, glad to be back. And hopefully I'll be able to make it a bit more consistent with being here as more time goes on.
All right. And Chris B., any final thoughts for you, sir?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Entertainment Hour Friday. I think kicking it Thursday.
Yep. Come on.
Maybe. I don't know. Okay. And just check out Coast to Coast.
All right. And then Mr. Big Game James.
Yeah, it should be on both of those tomorrow and Friday. Entertainment Hour, I'm going to get started on probably tonight or tomorrow. We'll see what happens from there. I'm interested to see how that show goes and how much knowledge there is, and we won't have one guy definitely on that show.
All right.
Thank the maker.
All right. So with that, we definitely want to thank everybody for watching. It's been another fun show for Sports Minute for everybody who watched. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week for another episode of Sports Minute. With that, y'all have a good night, and we'll see you next week.